What is up? What is up? What is up, y'all? Welcome to Friday Night Live. We are back once again. I hope everyone had a wonderful week. Hope everyone is doing well. How y'all doing tonight? Let me know in the comments. We got some people in the building tonight, all early and stuff. Bonnie Rivera in the building, checking in. Amethyst Angel. Happy Mac in the building. Thank you all for being here on this Friday evening. I hope you had a wonderful week. And look, I'm not even going to hold you long. King Judah 777 in the building. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. Y'all, while you're coming on in on this evening, make sure you hit the like button because we still out here fighting with this algorithm and things, and we need your support in order to spread the word about what we are doing over here. We appreciate you all. Alana is in the building. PJ Allen in the building. Georgina Wiggins in the building. Thank you all for being here. Y'all, I ain't even gonna hold you long tonight, but it's been an interesting day, and I hope everyone is doing well. I hope God has blessed you this week. I hope you are feeling well, in good health, and ready for the weekend. Louise McNeil in the building. Thank you for being here. Each and every one of y'all, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. We're going to get started because I'm not going to be before you long. Tonight, Giza Moon Shadow in the building. Thank you for your support and for being here. Y'all, I watched a couple days ago, I watched a live stream on YouTube. Y'all, I watch other people on this platform. I'm active out here in these YouTube streets, and I like to move around and see what's going on here and take assessments of my own presentation and compare them to other people. It's called peer review. I learned about it in law school. Lynetta Thompson, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Learned about it in law school. It's called peer review, and the basis of peer review, at the risk of oversimplifying it, is that other people in your profession, other people on your career path, on your career trajectory, they analyze your stuff. Whether it's your writing, excuse me, y'all. Sorry. I had my little Ricola situation here. I'm trying to get my life together. It is all part of my prep before I hit the live button. I apologize, y'all. But the peer review situation is where other people analyze your stuff, your argumentation, your writing, your assessments, your analysis. Other people who have the same background as you, who are in the same profession as you or similar profession, they analyze your stuff and they give an analysis based on what they think about your presentation. So I was perusing these streets, y'all, just 2 nights ago, and I said, this is a dude I follow quite a bit on the platform. I'm going to give him a shout out because he gave me a shout out, and I appreciate it. His name is The Angry Man on YouTube. You can just put that in the search. He going to pop up. He is someone who I respect in this space because he kind of talking about the same things I'm talking about. He kind of pushing for the same things I'm pushing for. Improvement in the community. Trying to get the blackity blacks to do better. Be better. On a social level, on a familial level, even on a spiritual level. But he was talking right the other night, and I decided to hop in his chat. And his brother said, hey, the Real Gospel Chops, I watch your content. I've seen your stuff. Bro, what's good, bro? I watch your content. Much respect. And he told the people Go check out this brother. If you ain't heard of him, go watch his stuff. Go check him out. He doing good work. I'm going to repay that favor. Even though, listen, he a big boy in the game. He got twice as many subscribers as I have on this platform. But we do what we can. Y'all, if you can stand a little salty language, because he cuss like a sailor, but his heart is pure and his message is good. If you can overcome that, then go on over there and check out The Angry Man. He was live just a few minutes ago over there talking his talk. Check him out. Good dude. But it feels good sometimes when you can step out amongst your peers who are out there in the struggle, who are out there fighting a good fight, and they can give you their salute, their head nod, and let you know you're doing good work. It's called peer review, and it matters, y'all. Appreciate the brother. Y'all go check him out. Subscribe if you haven't. If you can't stand that salty language, then don't even go on over there, because he gonna give it to you rough and raw. The Trendy Dispatch in the building. Karen Saunders in the building. Monique Roan in the building. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. It's been a wonderful day, y'all. PJ Allen. It's been a wonderful day. It's been some winning going on out here in these streets. Do y'all, anybody out there, remember when the POTUS told us that we might be winning a little piece? Anybody remember those days when he said we might win a little something and might get tired of winning?
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much. I love you all.
Anybody tired of winning? Urban Southern Cookie in the building. Thank you for being here. Anybody tired of winning yet? We know that it's been a rough and tumble first 6 months of this man's presidency. We had high expectations, and some of us may have felt smacked down just a little piece because there's been so much opposition to what this man has tried to implement in just the first few months. I appreciate personally the fact that he tried to hit the ground running. The fact that he came into this presidency, Donald Trump 2.0, and he said, you know what? I'm ready for this. It lets me know that he was stewing on something. He was focusing on something. He was studying something. Before he even got reelected, he was watching the previous administration. I get it. I appreciate it. And I love the fact that he hit the ground running with a plan, with a team, and he got to work on day one. But he was faced with such opposition, y'all, that we wasn't winning. He tried to change the government and alter the situation based on executive orders. And every time he tried, seemed like some little district court federal judge somewhere in Podunk, America, some little small district somewhere would just throw a monkey wrench into the plan. Say, Mr. President, you can't do that because I have more power than you in my little district. Well, y'all, it's been some winning going on today. Donald Trump said we was going to get tired of winning. We was going to win so much. Amethyst Angel said, just tired. Not tired of winning, just tired. Just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Sometimes it be like that. So I asked y'all early on, how y'all doing this Friday? I'm trying to feel your pulse. I'm trying to see what you're working with this evening. Because based on what I saw, it's been a good day. And listen, I was going to go live in the Patreon for those who rock out with me in the Patreon. I was going to go live exclusively in the Patreon because Donald Trump did something amazing today. I didn't do it. And I'm glad I didn't do it because I'd have had y'all sitting and waiting because I sat and waited for over an hour. President said, I'm going live from the Oval Office at 3 p.m. Eastern time. He didn't go live until after 4 p.m. Eastern. But you know what he did? He brought in representatives, foreign ministers from the Congo and Rwanda into the Oval Office. And they were so shocked, y'all. They was like, I can't even believe we hear what is going on in the world that me from the Congo, I'm not even the president. I'm just a foreign minister. I am in the Oval Office of the United States. Man, this man, as you can see in the title, I asked the question, is President Trump the president of peace? Y'all, Alana says, ice, ice, baby. Okay. Okay. We on that too. Alana, I feel you. He said, look, we got problems in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. We want peace over there. We got problems in the Middle East with Israel and Iran. And I got some feelings on that. I'm not even going to go into that tonight because it's too complicated and I could spend a whole live on that. Because Bibi Netanyahu's hands are not clean over there. But we understand what's going on with Iran, and they needed some correction. They needed the rod of correction. Donald Trump put that smack down as necessary, and it looks like there might be a little piece of peace in the Middle East. Just as Israel went in ahead of time and took out their surface-to-air missile situation to pave the way so that our B-2s could go in there unimpeded. Well, Donald Trump went down to the Middle East and he met with the Sunnis in the UAE and Qatar and Saudi Arabia. He kind of greased the skids, y'all. Everybody good with what's going on? This is what's about to happen. He met with the Sunnis before he met with the Shias with them bombs and made sure everything was good. Amethyst Angel says, I watched his first presser this morning. That was the second one of the day. His interns get a daily workout just keeping up with him. Can you believe it? The man just turned 79. Lord, give me the strength. Don't just give me the longevity, because God knows men in my family don't even make it that far. So don't just give me the strength. Give me the longevity to get there. And when I get there, if I get there, give me the kind of strength this man got, because I know he only sleep a few hours at each night. He can't sleep much longer than 4 or 5 hours. He's always running. He's always on the go. And people half his age have to struggle to keep up. Well, I'm half his age. Well, maybe a little bit more. But I'm just trying to keep up on this internet. And it's tough, Amethyst Angel. I understand what you're saying. I get it. Pray for those interns, because I know he keeps them busy. But he got off in that Oval Office, y'all. And this war that has been going on for 30 years or so, according to him, these are his words, 30 years in war. Donald Trump did something, and he said other presidents could have done it. These are his words. He said other people could have done it. They didn't want to, or they didn't try, or they didn't care. This is his analysis. He says, I went in there. I looked at the situation. I understood 6 million deaths, 6 million people dead, both sides combined. Thank you, Jack, for being here. Appreciate you. I saw your comment earlier today in the comments. Appreciate you rocking out. Very well said. Thank you. 6 million deaths, 30 years of war. Y'all, I went to Bishop Google. I said, Bishop Google, what's the basis of the Rwanda and Congo conflict? Y'all know what Google spit out to me? It said, I'm going to read it to y'all. This is what Reverend Google said. The Rwanda-Congo conflict is a complex issue rooted in the aftermath of the Rwandan genocide. And y'all know everything that happened on the continent is complex. So Google ain't telling us that we don't already know. Everything over there is complex. It has to do with complex land situations, complex resources, tribal complexities, ethnic complexities. Everything is complicated amongst the blackety blacks on the continent. So we understand that. Thank you, Google. It says ethnic tensions and competition for resources, particularly in eastern DR Congo. Following the genocide, Hutu extremists, FDLR, fled to eastern DRC, posing a security threat to Rwanda and leading to Rwandan interventions. This, along with the desire to control valuable mineral resources in the region, has fueled ongoing conflict. Y'all, listen. If it come down to it, and there's one big piece of chicken left, and it's two of y'all, you and your brother, you and your cousin, you and your friend, you got one piece of chicken. One person go eat the chicken and live another day or so. The other person just gonna die. Well, y'all gonna fight over those limited resources, over that one piece of chicken. Y'all gonna duke it out. And that seems like, and I know it said it's complex, so I'm oversimplifying it, but it seems like that's the kind of situation that's been going on over there in the Congo between the Congolese and the Rwandans. Donald Trump said, hey, what if I'm a billionaire? I'm a businessman. I got a business degree from University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to run America like a business as it should have been all along. So let me step in here. Country Roads, thank you for being here. Let me step in here with my business acumen and say, hey, I understand that y'all got 6 million deaths. I understand that y'all been going back and forth in this region for 30 years, affecting all of the politics on the continent. But what if I came in with the economics of America and say, hey, y'all got some resources over there. Y'all got some rare earth minerals over there. Y'all got some gold over there. Y'all got some copper over there. Listen, we got a big old bag round yonder way. What if I came in and offered you some economic incentives? Oh my. Oh my goodness. What if I offered you some economic incentives to stop fighting, to stop warring, to stop acting like you acting? Y'all cutting up over here. And you know what they said? They stood in that Oval Office today and they said, yes, sir, Mr. President, sir, we ain't fighting no more. It's all love over here. We gonna get down with the get down, come on with the come on, as the old folks used to say. We good over here, Mr. President. Why? Because you have given us incentive, and people operate very well with incentive structures and disincentive structures. Listen, if you do good, well, you can have this wealth. If you do bad, you might get some of them bunker buster bombs on your head, like Iran just got. We offering incentives and disincentives. We're going to put it on paper and see if y'all Negroes act right. They say, yes, sir, Mr. President, we're good. We understand what you talk about. We can all get wealthy in this situation. You offering financial incentives from America. We good on it, Mr. President. I wondered, y'all, as I looked at that late press conference, over an hour late. Y'all hit the like button. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Appreciate y'all. But the likes ain't matching the numbers. Come on, y'all. I said, is there any way that this president could offer financial incentives in the community to get y'all sons to act right? To get y'all daughters to act right? To get y'all cousins to act right? Is there a financial incentive that could be offered to get y'all on the right path? Because it seems like the disincentives that have been offered ain't enough. It ain't enough. Because there are disincentives that have been in place all my life. Seems like either we ain't paying attention, or we don't care, or we not aware of those disincentives? Because I've been young once, I've been stupid once or twice, or maybe even 3 times. I've been stupid a little piece in my life. And some of y'all may have caught my live on yesterday when I got on and just hit the live button and ranted a little piece because I felt some kind of way on this Carmelo Anthony situation. It bothered my spirit. It still bothers my spirit. I don't want to go into it too heavy, but I appreciate all of y'all who rocked out on the live yesterday and stood with me, understood where I was coming from, felt my heart. PJ Allen said, we all have. Bro, we all have. Yeah, PJ, we all have when we think about it, right? Because I look at certain situations. And I say, boy, I used to get on record. I used to get like this expensive microphone that's right out the shot that y'all can't see. I used to, as a teenager, get on a microphone and talking about shooting up a whole block, taking out the ops, doing all kinds of dirt. I used to do that on record as my father stood in the pulpit and preached the gospel. As my mother stood over there, sat over there as first lady and supported him. I used to embarrass my parents and would go out and record crazy music and come back and play the organ on Sunday. PJ, we've done it. We've been there. We all have, right, PJ? And let me just be real with y'all. That I got some 30-year-old music that I came across on YouTube, and I said, oh my gosh, who uploaded this? I didn't upload this. Who put my 30-year-old transgressions on the internet? And you know what I said, PJ? I said it's still smacking these young rappers that's coming out today. That's what I said. That's what I felt. That's what I feel. Louise said, I have several books to write. Yeah, write them books. Tell that story. Put it out there because it's going to help somebody, Louise. It's going to bless somebody. But I wonder, as I see these stories come across my news feed, can an economic incentive help the hood? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I looked at this situation that triggered me, that made me go live yesterday, and I said, this young man, I don't know what was in his head. I don't know what was in his heart. I don't know what was in his spirit. He took a knife to attract me to a school function sporting event. Boy, you packed a knife? Listen, I used to run track. Boy, I was third leg on the 4x100. Would lean to the side and walk you down, sir. But when I think about my bag, I'm going to pack me a towel. I'm going to pack me some water. I'm going to pack my cleats. I ain't never packed no knife, bro, for no track meet. I ain't never, ever. And when I think about this boy and I look at this situation and I say, hey, his family has filed with court in Collin County, Texas, saying, we are indigent. We are indigent defendants such that we need a public pretender to defend this boy. We can't even afford a lawyer. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You blackity blacks are rubbing me the wrong way with this information, because we're in my first year of law school. I worked at legal services, a legal clinic for indigent clients. I know what that whole situation is about. You can't even afford legal representation. And some of the situations are quite trivial. And you don't even need representation. You could have figured this out on your own by reading a book or an article or something. Others are very complex. And you say, as broke as you are, how you get yourself into a situation like this? And you can't even afford representation. Well, here you got this young blackety black boy. I feel you, Louise. Say they raised plenty of money. The boy raised over $500,000. And y'all done went out and flipped a new crib behind the gates, the guard gates. Can't nobody even get off in there unless they get past the guard. I get it. I understand. Got you a new SUV. Well, you probably eating good. Steak and lobster and things on the money that the community contributed because they felt like the boy needed to get his day in court, because they felt like he was being hung in the court of public opinion. Can we contribute 5 or 10 or 20 here and there just to make sure that the boy can afford a lawyer to get his day in court? And what that family do? After raising $500,000, they filed with the court as indigent defendants, saying this boy ain't got no money, can't afford a lawyer. Where'd the money go? Now, I ain't gave no money. I wasn't compelled. I didn't feel it like that in my spirit. I understand if y'all felt a compulsion, a gumption in your spirit to give a couple dollars over. I get it. People gave just as much on the other side for the boy who was deceased. And I get that too. I feel for both sides. Listen, I'm not going to regurgitate what I did yesterday. I'm not going down that path. I just want you to understand where I was going with it. And I had to get that out on yesterday. So I appreciate everybody rocking with me on yesterday during that. But when I talk about things like reparations in the community, I get all up in arms and upset with my perspective. These are the examples that I point to and say, if they gave y'all reparations, what would y'all do with it? Some money that you ain't earned, some money that you ain't worked for. Didn't come by the sweat of your brow. It just dropped in your lap. How would you act? How would you respond? What would you buy? Would you go out and get some gold rims and a Gucci belt? Or would you save something for a rainy day and saying this boy got to appear before the judge one day and we're going to have to mount a defense? Maybe we should put a couple dollars aside for his representation. Now, I saw the Officer Tatum got out there today and he posited something and I said, hey, bro, I didn't even think of that. Good on you for putting it out there. Shout out to Officer Tatum. He said, well, maybe they think he already gonna be guilty. I said, you know what? That sound like the community, don't it? Sound like our cousins and our kinfolk. Don't look, boy, you're gonna be found guilty anyway, so we're gonna spend this money on something else. Shout out to Officer Tatum. That's his theory, not mine. But I thought it was worth mentioning because when I saw it, I said, hey, that's kind of how we think sometimes. That's kind of how we act sometimes. Is there anything Donald Trump can do with an economic incentive that can turn this situation around in the community? I think not. But we don't need economic wins as much as we need social wins in this day and age, at this time. And some of these social wins came through today by way of the Supreme Court of the United States, y'all. And it warmed my heart. It made me feel good to see that over these last 6 months of Donald Trump's presidency, as we have stood by his side, we have supported him We have advocated for some of his policies in the community. Thank you, LR. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Says peace in the DRC, South Africa. Take notice. POTUS number 47. He coming through that continent, LR. I hope he fix it all. The president of peace, I hope he fix it all. I saw a story, y'all, just a few days ago where they said 2,000 Christians have been killed on the continent. The anti-Christians are unaliving the Christians. They trapped them in a certain building, some of them. They set the building on fire. They were already refugees. They were already running for their lives. Found themselves in a building that they thought was refuge. No. The anti-Christians set that building on fire, burned the doors, and when people busted through the doors and ran out, they unalived them as they tried to escape the fire. This is going on the continent. So we need some kind of intervention. If y'all can't accept that the orange man is intervening, then I don't know what to tell you. God can use a donkey. Let him use whom he will to bring about his glory. Okay, Dolores, I don't know what's funny. We're going to let you rock out with your rocks out for now. But we hope that some kind of change comes to the continent. And if it takes an orange man to get over there and offer some financial incentives for folks to do right, then so be it. If it takes the Supreme Court weighing in on this judicial insurgency that's been going on for the last 6 months, then so be that. Thankful, y'all, for the SCOTUS for weighing in on a situation like this with some rulings that are impactful for us today. Let's get into it.
The first story, the first SCOTUS decision that came out is Trump versus CASA. And Jason, you've been watching this over the last hour, so I want to make sure that I have this right. But the first one has come out in favor of Donald Trump. And this impact on this one is really, really high. This one is so important. The Supreme Court has decided that they will limit the federal court's ability to issue any kind of sweeping injunction, which now also signals an openness to restricting birthright citizenship and reshaping of immigration law. This stops the power of the judges to block executive actions nationally. And this is important for structural implications and for immigration, but also mainly for separations of power. Do I have that one right, Jason, on their ruling?
That's correct. We still don't really have a definitive answer on birthright citizenship, but the thing that most people are pissed off right now about is an imperial judiciary, and that's what this strikes at the heart of.
Correct. And that's really important. That's struck that down. So that madness is going to end. Now, the next one is...
We ain't going to the next one. Let's hold on right there, y'all, because that's important. Now, this case came before the court on birthright citizenship. Donald Trump is challenging it. He's saying the 14th Amendment ain't had nothing to do with Chinese women who fly over here 9 months pregnant and find themselves in some of these Chinese safe houses, birth houses that they've established here in America. They fly them in 8 months, 9 months pregnant, put them up in the house, drop a baby on American soil, get that citizenship, and then they go back. They just want the access back and forth. They just want to infiltrate. Donald Trump is saying, him and his administration, Stephen Miller, one of my favorites, he's saying the 14th Amendment was intended for the children of slaves in America. Wasn't intended for people who run across the border from south of the border just to drop a baby on American soil and say, hey, you can't deport me. You can't discipline me. You can't do nothing to me. I got a baby here. Saw a story a few weeks ago where they said, they lied in the media. And they said, Donald Trump deported a 2-month-old baby. No, Donald Trump didn't deport a 2-month-old baby. He deported that baby's mama, who was an illegal alien. And he asked her, well, his department asked her. Homeland Security said, do you want your baby or no? And that mother who was being deported said, give me my baby. I'm taking my baby. You gonna throw me out? I'm taking my baby with me. Well, the baby wasn't deported. The mama was. And she made the decision to take the child with her. That's not the way the story was written in the media. Y'all don't believe everything you read and hear in the media. Even from me. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence. Look it up for yourself. Thank you, Amethyst Angel. Appreciate your support. Says, despite Ketanji Brown Jackson, we've had some great decisions. Specifically, the one the Muslim parents sued for opt out from the alphabet mafia literature in our schools. Thank you, Amethyst Angel. How did you know I was going there, sis? How did you know that was next? Because if you've been on, I think you was on from the very beginning of this live, Amethyst Angel, when I talked about the peer review situation. And I felt some kind of way, Amethyst Angel, when I saw that Amy Coney Barrett, because she been shaky. We ain't been so supportive of her on everything because she been kind of sometimey. And we understand that Mitch McConnell put her up there in Trump 1.0, and she may not have been totally vetted. Seemed like she's been siding a lot with those liberals on the court. We felt some kind of way about it. But on this one, she nailed it. And in the arena of peer review that I spoke about earlier on in this live, Bonnie says she read your mind. We was tapped in, Bonnie. There is nothing, listen, I don't know what y'all do for a living, but understand, if you walk into work tomorrow, this is the weekend, we celebrating Friday night. You walk into work on Monday and you get an email that's been sent throughout your whole department that say, Bonnie ain't up to snuff. Amethyst Angel ain't doing her job right. Jack Palance ain't on his shift, ain't on his post when he's supposed to be. He late clocking in every day. Honey K ain't on point. If you walked into your work, your job on Monday morning and you saw that email, you would feel some kind of way. Laura Hardiman in the chat, thank you for being here. Laura Hardiman, if you walk into your job on Monday and somebody does send out an email blasting you like that, you're going to feel something. You might be ready to fight. Laura, you might be talking about meet me in the parking lot to whoever sent that email. Well, that's essentially what happened today, but it's worse than an email, y'all, because Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote the majority opinion on the birthright citizen case. Birthright citizenship. Now, they didn't rule on birthright citizenship. They remanded that back to the lower court. But what they did rule on was the ability of these lower court judges in these little tiny districts around America to stop the president's agenda. This is unconstitutional, and I guarantee you, y'all, knowing what I know about the law, these judges knew it was unconstitutional, but they know that Donald Trump only got 4 years. If we can stretch this out, if we can string this out, if we can waste his time, look, y'all, it's already been 6 months. What has been accomplished? Dang near every executive order he's written has been blocked by some low-level district court judge. And I heard the analysis today. Out of 40 executive orders that have been blocked in the courts, 35 of them came from 5 districts. You got 5 areas in the country that are trying to stifle the president's agenda. But here's what happened today. And this is going back to what I started with peer review. I have never, yes, Bonnie. Bonnie said MAGA, yes. I've never seen a judicial opinion in all my years. Because understand, y'all, the court is small. You only got 9 justices. And they got to work together. Whether they like each other or not, whether they agree politically or not, they got to work together. And this woman, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was selected as a DEI hire because she was a black female, don't put it on me. That's what Joe Biden said. He said he wanted a black woman on the court. Well, I could have recommended several black women who were competent and capable. But you selected a black woman who couldn't even tell you what a woman is. She should be disqualified from any case having to do with womanhood. She should recuse herself from any case dealing with womanhood. But she didn't recuse herself in the Planned Parenthood case. That also dropped today. So let me just touch on that. States can now defund Planned Parenthood if they so choose. Ooh, Bonnie giving her 2 thumbs down. Ain't feeling that, huh, Bonnie? Well, Amy Coney Barrett wasn't feeling it either, because I've never seen a case like this where a justice smacked down a peer so much. So much in a majority opinion. Where she said, and I'm paraphrasing, she said, either you doing this on purpose or you too dumb to be on the court. I don't know why you ruling this way. I don't know why your writings are coming across like this. Y'all, this Amy Coney Barrett in the majority opinion. She called out Ketanji Brown Jackson by name multiple times in her opinion. I said, oh God, oh Lord, I've never seen somebody on the Supreme Court taking shots at a peer like that in an opinion that's going to live forever in the record books. Because she took your head off. What are you going to do with that, Ketanji Brown Jackson? You've been out of bounds since you got into the court. You have proven yourself to be an ideologue. It is unfair that we have to endure your tenure on the court, because it's a lifetime position, and some people are arguing and advocating at this point saying, hey, maybe we can disqualify her because maybe her appointment was done with the auto pen. I don't know if y'all been following that case, but Neera Tanden, who's a long-term Democrat operative, is proven to be the one. She admitted it in a closed session before Congress. She admitted that she's the one who was operating the auto pen under Joe Biden for over 20 months. She was acting as the president. She said she didn't even interact with Joe Biden that much. But she signed all these orders that sent billions of dollars of your tax money to Democrat NGOs and nonprofits. I think they need to examine her financials, her personal financials, and find out how much of that money came back to her personally. She admitted, y'all, we know who was running the auto pen. Well, did that auto pen sign on to Ketanji Brown Jackson being nominated? I know the Senate had to confirm her. Shame on them, but who really nominated her? Was it Joe Biden? Or was it someone else? Well, we got other stories here that came down from the Supreme Court that made us feel good. In conjunction with that first case, which is so important because it stops those judges in those small districts from impeding Donald Trump's agenda. The agenda will move forward now. I hope it full speed ahead, hopefully. But look at what they've done over 6 months. They've slowed everything down. They've wasted, I ain't gonna say wasted. Let me take that back. Because some good things have been accomplished in record time and record speed. But they've done everything they can to impede this president because the Republicans got the executive branch. The Republicans got the legislative branch. All they've had is the judicial, and they used it as much as they could to slow things down. And it took 6 months for the Supreme Court to rule on a case like this. That might put boot to tail of these district court judges and stop them in their tracks for the judicial insurrection that they were trying to engage in this country. But we got some other stuff that came down, y'all. I think that is the most important because it allows the president to do the things that he wanted to do as far as his agenda goes. But there's some other stuff that took place today that I think is worth opining on, is worth us having a discussion on. Let me bring it to your attention and get over here, pull this up. Here we go. Bang.
Regarding religious liberty and whether parents should be informed and be able to opt their children out from reading books in the classroom that go against their faith. Shannon Bream is at the Supreme Court. We were watching for this one. What's the verdict?
We were, Dana. So this brought together a coalition of parents of different religious faiths and backgrounds who said there used to be a rule in this particular school district that would let them know when there were books that dealt with issues that may be in conflict with their religious faith. Well, so many parents were opting out that the school board and the school district quit doing it. Well, 6-3 today in a decision by Justice Alito, they said these parents have earned at least a preliminary injunction. So while this case plays out, they said the board has to notify them about a book that's in question or anything similar so that their kids can be excused if it's in conflict with their faith. He says, as we've explained, without that, parents are left this choice: either risk their child's exposure to burdensome instruction or pay substantial sums for alternative educational services. Because at one point, Justice Jackson, during the arguments, had said, why don't they just go to a different school? Why don't you put them in private school or homeschool them? Justice Alito and others saying that's not practical for a lot of people. The dissent by Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, says today's ruling threatens the essence of public education. She says it's not about bringing kids together to learn about a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Exposure to new ideas has always been a vital part of that project until now. The dissenters didn't think that the parents should get the opt-out. Justice Alito and the majority say they should.
Majority of parents.
Y'all, did you hear what she said? She said that they used to offer an option for parents to opt out, but so many parents opted out that they decided to take the option away. Why? Because they're pushing an agenda on your children, an alphabet agenda right on their heads. They used to give you the choice and say, hey, here go the permission slip. Can your kid participate in this? This is what we're going to present. So many parents said, don't give that foolishness to my kids, that they took the option away. Y'all know I'm in California. We ain't got much option at all. But you hear the kind of dumb arguments Ketanji Brown Jackson makes in that report. She said, Ketanji Brown Jackson said, well, why don't you just move your kid to another school? Well, they understand that is not feasible for many people. That is why they have attacked the public school system. See, the things that have taken place in public schools in my state, well, we got a governor here who his kids weren't affected by that. You know why? Because his kids go to private school. During COVID, when California kids were taken out of school for 2 years, much longer than your state, I don't care where you live, because California had it the longest. So wherever you at, it's been worse in my state. I know that for a fact. But it didn't affect Gavin Newsom's kids. You know why? Because his kids go to private school. I'm willing to bet Ketanji Brown Jackson kids go to private school. She said, why don't you just move your kids to private school? Well, I seem to remember Ketanji Brown Jackson, where there was a case maybe a couple years ago now, it's been a while, where a black woman fudged some paperwork to try to get her kids over in the good school because the schools in her neighborhood was trash. She called herself being a good parent, trying to do what she needed to do to get her kids over to the good school. You know, they sent that woman to jail. Girl, you going to jail for fudging some paperwork, for trying to get your kids a better education. So what is Ketanji Brown Jackson out here talking about? Some foolishness. That's why Amy Coney Barrett called her out in that ruling. I suggest you go find it and read it to yourself when you ain't got nothing better to do, because she essentially said in legalese, the term legalese was used in the opinion, y'all. Amy Coney Barrett said, listen, either you don't understand what's going on. No, she said, either you doing this on purpose or you too dumb to be on this court. Now, listen, I don't care where you work. I don't care where you work. Yes. If one of your peers, if you go into work on Monday and one of your peers tell you, you too dumb to do this job, it's going to be a problem with half of y'all, at least half of y'all, AT. AT, you're going to be good with that. If you go into work on Monday and one of your peers sent out a email through the whole department saying, you can't do your job, you don't belong here. Well, that's basically what Amy Coney Barrett said today. Read the opinion. Check it out. I've never seen anything like it. That is how you going to be a friend after? How y'all going to go get coffee after that? You can't be friends after that. Amethyst Angel, thank you for the 5, says they didn't revoke the option. They removed the books from health ed to required education, required English class in which the opt-out isn't an option. Let me go back in this video and show you a little something about what Amethyst Angel is talking about. She said they didn't revoke the option. They removed the books from health ed to required English class. Thank you, Amethyst Angel. Let me get back over here because we want to see. There they go, right there. Can we blow that up a little piece? These are the titles of the books, y'all, that they were presenting to your children. The Prince and the Knight. Oh, God. Born ready for what? Born ready? Born ready for what? My Rainbow? Jacob's Room to Choose? Pride Puppy? Okay. Let's see if we can take a look at this here, because there's a brother out here who can tell it to you better than I can. His name is John Amanchukwu Sr. He is the son-in-law of Bishop Patrick Wooden, Church of God in Christ Bishop. You have seen me highlight him plenty of times on this channel. He's one of our favorite bishops in the Church of God in Christ. We support him. His son-in-law has made a name and reputation for himself by going around to different school districts around the country and advocating for what has happened today. Jack say love Wooden. I love him too. We support him over here. And I found out by someone in his congregation that he rock with us over here. So shout out to Bishop Wooden. But his son-in-law, assistant pastor of the Upper Room Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, is Pastor John. Pastor John went around reading these types of books to the school boards and the city councils and saying, hey, these are the books that are in your public library available to children. I want to read a passage to you. This is the assistant pastor, y'all. Don't feel some kind of way. I ain't finna read it. The assistant pastor about to read it to you. Luis said he went to the Board of Education. He argued his case. He made a name for himself. He's now doing a podcast on which Bishop Wooden appears pretty regularly from what I've seen. Pastor John says, I'm going to take some of these books that you are promoting to these children, these alphabet books, these agenda-ridden books. I'm going to read them to you. Y'all let me know what you think about it as I read.
All right, so your district is infamous because you all are finding creative ways to push perversion upon children. You have several issues going on at Shepherd Middle School. Number one, you have a book entitled Queer, the LGBTQ Guide for Teens in that school district. The book reads, genital stimulation can come from any body part. You can use your hands or your hips or your feet, or you can rub your private parts on someone's thighs, arm, butt, genitals, ankles, wherever. You may stroke his penis, insert fingers into his anus, or insert fingers into her vagina. If you're inserting fingers into somewhere, you may want to consider using a rubber glove to help prevent the spread of disease like syphilis, which is on the rise amongst gay men. So here's some advice for Pride Month. Don't put your fingers in someone's butt, all right? You also have a book entitled What Girls Are Made Of at Shepherd Middle School. It reads, eat him and drink him and do with him what I will. She was talking about worshiping Jesus. But come on, she was talking about sex, right? Sex with Jesus. That was what she wanted, to give Jesus head. And I totally understand it. So this book endorses giving oral sex and sucking the penis of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You should be ashamed of yourselves for allowing this kind of smut and filth to be in the school district. And we will make sure that this nation sees you willful cowards who support this kind of mess. And number three, the issue of the bathrooms. Look at the men who are on this board and the superintendent. How can you all claim to be men, providers and protectors and priests of your homes, and you allow a boy with a penis, not with a vagina? Men don't have vaginas. Let me get that clear. Men don't have vaginas, nor do they have breasts. Then they can have man boobs, but they don't have breasts. And men don't lactate. And men should not have the right to go into the women's restroom and defraud women of their privacy. I know we have some feminists on this board, ones that don't even want to look at me. What about the feminists in here? Don't you want to protect women? A woman's right to choose, a woman's right to do this and do that, a woman's right to have her voice. What about protecting the little girls who now have to go to school and contend with someone pushing sexual harassment upon them? That's what you're doing. But when men become neutered in our culture, they lose their voice. And this issue should not persist with the number of men who are on this board. I say to every man that's on this board, if you're not speaking up loudly about this, you are complicit. You are a punk, you are a coward, and you are the reason why this is taking place. And God forbid, because the DOJ and the DOE is coming, sir, and you better be prepared. Thank you.
Thank you.
He said what he said, y'all. He said what he said, and he said it. This the assistant pastor, y'all, at Upper Room Church of God in Christ in Raleigh, North Carolina. He said it stronger than I said it. I don't say it like that because I know I'm on them folks' platform and they already got their foot on my neck. So I would say things like penis. I gotta say things like anus. And when I say it, I hope y'all get it. I just got to cross my fingers and hope y'all get it. Y'all understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to project. This man stood 10 toes down before the school board and said, look, this is what it is. I'm going to read it to y'all like y'all trying to read it to the kids. Patricia Brooks said, he right on. Y'all, I put his name in the chat. Y'all can search it here on YouTube. He has his own channel. Look him up. He has a new podcast that he's starting here. He's gaining some traction. Support the brother. He talking right, and he out there 10 toes down, pounding the pavement, doing the work. Saying y'all get upset. Y'all get anxious. Y'all get fidgety when I read these words, but these are the books that are in your kids' library. These are the books that are being read to your children in school. How can you sit here and be uncomfortable at this school board meeting when I'm just reading what y'all want the kids to read? Shout out to Pastor John. Doing good work. We appreciate it. He talk a little stronger than what we talk. But now he's entered this new arena where he's going to be on them folk platform too. And he going to have to fight for his survival as these people on this platform try to attack him and the things that he would try to project and advocate for on this platform. Y'all, Honey K said, talk your talk, sir. Yeah, he going to do that. He gonna let a chip off the old block. Yeah, he a son-in-law, but he a son. He gonna give it to you like Bishop wouldn't give it to you. And we appreciate the work that they're doing. Thank you, Amethyst Angel. She done dropped the link in the chat. She found it for y'all. If y'all want to go over there and subscribe to his channel, he's doing a good work. Support him. Find as many voices as you can that are out here talking right, that are out here doing right, that are out here advocating for godliness, and you support them as much as you can. That's all I can ask. Don't put yourself out now. Don't do too much. Don't go over the top, but support them as much as you can. If you believe in what they talking, if you believe in what they're advocating for, if you believe in their mission and their work, y'all, I'm gonna just leave it right there. Because when I listened to The Angry Man the other night, it was 1:30 in the morning his time. He on the East Coast. So I'm listening on West Coast time, and I'm up. He up early in the morning, and he's advocating for certain things. He has twice as many subscribers as I have, but he's talking about how this platform, them folks are crushing him. Over 800,000 subscribers, and he only got a few hundred people on his live. He's saying, no, ain't no way, ain't no way, ain't no way. I'm saying, bro, I feel the same thing. And my people are contacting me and they telling me we're not getting notifications. Some people contact me and say, I've been unsubscribed from you. I know I didn't do it. Who did it? Hey, them folk. Is what it is. Life ain't fair. We all deal with what we got to deal with, but it's comforting to know that you ain't the only one going through sometimes. It don't matter what you might be dealing with in your life, in your family, on your job. When you see someone else running the same race and they're persevering, sometimes you can pull some energy from them spiritually and say, if you can do it, I can do it. I ain't gonna quit. The old mother say, I'm gonna run on, see what the end gonna be. Maybe you can pull some energy from someone else in order to gain some stamina. Bonnie says, fight the good fight. Yes, yes. I used to say when I was younger, live to fight another day, Bonnie. Don't give up is the moral of the story. Speaking of stories, when I was younger, y'all, they used to tell me, the old folks, they would say when they can't get to you, they'll get to your kids. If they can't get to your kids, they'll get to somebody else close to you, somebody next to you, somebody in your circle. If they can't touch you, and that spirit, that demonic spirit, got a hold of them, that jealous spirit, where they just fixated on you for whatever reason, they can't let it go. Sometimes they will try to touch the person next to you, the person close to you, something you care about. I can't touch you, I'll touch your business. I can't touch you, I'll touch your car. You ain't accessible to me, but I know where your mama stay. What if I go over there and cause some confusion at your mama house? Somebody next to you, somebody close to you, something that you care about. They can't touch you, but they just want to inflict some pain upon you in your situation. Lynetta say, I'm already subscribed to Pastor John. That's good. That's good. We appreciate them and the work that they're doing. Y'all, here we go with Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Ratchet, as she is sometimes referred to. She has it out for the president, but she just throwing the stones at the throne, and she can't get no traction. She can't get no action. She just applied to be the head Democratic voice in the Oversight Committee in the House of Representatives, and her own peers voted her down. She came in last place out of everybody who put their name in the hat. She came in last place. And the reason that this woman rubs me the wrong way is because, yes, Louise, she said, oh no, Jasmine. Yes, because I've looked into her background and I see that this girl came from a private school background. She's lived a good life. She has a good education, and now she's out here LARPing as if she is some ghetto goon. And I say, why would you want to do a thing like that? After coming from privilege, after being well off, after knowing how to behave in these types of situations, why would you want to do the opposite? Why would you want to be the Nicki Minaj of Congress? Why would you want to be the Cardi B of Congress? Why would you want to be the Glorilla of Congress? Robert Randall says, Satan is a roaring lion, always going for the weakest link. Jack says, like AOC, yep. Yeah, I think she's trying to attach herself to AOC, but AOC is seeing that she's becoming a liability and that people ain't feeling this act. Why is it an act? Because this is not her true personality. We've seen her history, and we've seen that she wasn't raised in nobody's hood. Thank you, Amethyst Angel, for your support and rocking out with us tonight. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a blessed night, sis. Thank you for rocking out with us. We'll see you on the next one. So Jasmine Crockett gets out in this congressional hearing, and she's saying, well, I've been shooting at the president. I've been saying everything I could at the president. Ain't getting me no traction. Ain't getting me no love with the people. Ain't getting me no progress. Maybe if I shoot at his wife. Oh, yo. So Jasmine Crockett says, I'm going to shoot at Melania. The president seems unshaken by what I say, unmoved by what I do. Maybe if I shoot at Melania, it will make a difference.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett took time out of the House Judiciary hearing on immigration visas to insult First Lady Melania Trump and her legal status.
Yeah, Texas Congressman and member of the House Judiciary Committee, Lance Gooden, was at that hearing. He joins us now. And Congressman, I'm just going to read part of what she said in what I would call a very serious hearing on a very serious issue that impacts our country's immigration and ultimately decides who comes into our country. Yet the Congresswoman decides to use her time to say the following. Melania, the First Lady, a model. And when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, and Naomi Campbell. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer. being an Olympic medalist or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't math. And here, this, of course, the Einstein approach is what this approach to visas is called. Your reaction to that display, again, from a sitting U.S. Congresswoman against the First Lady, mind you, who championed an anti-bullying program in her first term.
Well, first of all, I think the First Lady is magnificent, as do most of the country. I am very proud of her and her accomplishments, and I wouldn't dare question her history, how she came to the United States, or what she's done, because what she's done is magnificent. And I'm so proud of her and the work that she's doing as our First Lady. As for this hearing and my colleague criticizing her, I think the best thing to do here would be to ignore it. I think that the radical view of the Democrats is one where they want to ignore the open borders that have destroyed our country. And I find it pretty rich that they would go after someone like the First Lady, who came here as an immigrant, like millions of Americans with her who came here the right way. All the while they've turned a blind eye at the open borders over the last 4 years of Biden that have really destroyed our nation. They're okay with the riots in LA. They're okay with destroying small businesses and violence and unrest, but they want to go back in time and rehash the immigration path of Americans who did it the right way. And I think that's a shame. And I think the American people see through that. And I think the American people are happy that Republicans are in charge and that there is law and order being restored. The border is secure. We've had no crossings in the last several months, no illegal crossings. And now we are working to ship the illegals out of this country. The big, beautiful bill will do that. And I believe that's the path we need to go in. And I think spending time acknowledging radical comments and hearings is a waste of time.
And there you have it, y'all. I agree with that. I think Jasmine Crockett is a little crazy. And I wonder who has put her up to these ratchet activities. I had a whole line of TikTok responses. I'm not a TikToker, y'all. I ain't even on a platform. I don't rock out with it much at all. I don't even use it as examples much, but I found a whole line of TikTokers who were coming out against Jasmine Crockett and her attack on Melania. I didn't know Melania had that kind of support, but these was a blackity blacks camming out to roast Jasmine Crockett for her attack on Melania, saying it is unjustified, it is uncalled for, and you look like an idiot out here in Congress. You act like you can't read the room, but we know you can because we've followed your background. We know that this is performative. We know that you are acting, you are cosplaying and LARPing as some ghetto chick that made it all the way to Congress. And we know that ain't how this works because you ain't elected, you selected. Somebody chose you to take that seat. And it seems like somebody gave you a certain script to enact in that seat. And now you're acting it out. So I came across all of these, y'all, a whole string of TikTokers who was mad and upset at this woman. But it was far too foul for me to present to y'all. So I wasn't going to spend hours trying to bleep out all those words. I said, let me find something that is representative that I can give y'all. Because these TikTokers talk like sailors.
Since we're talking about integrity, I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas. Let me remind y'all that Melania, the First Lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what's...
Damn, Boquisha, you sound jealous. You sound like you wanted to be a model, but they don't. You can't be a model because you're built like a Teletubby. So you can't be a model. They don't have Teletubby models out there. So you just got to figure something else out. I mean, you're not a very good lawyer. You're definitely not a very good congressperson. And you can't be a model. To me, you sound jealous. But going back to Melania's EB-1 visa. Well, she was a pretty successful model in her native country. She modeled for British GQ, she modeled for Sports Illustrated, and she was featured on a billboard in Times Square in New York City. So based on all that, under Bush's State Department, she was able to apply for a visa legally and got one. And she also happens to be married to a billionaire businessman, so I'm pretty sure he was able to grease the wheels a little bit along the way. I mean, it's not like she married her brother or anything, did she? I mean, it's just, that is actual corruption. That is something that really should be investigated. But I don't think you're going to bring that one up, are you? Zeke Arkham, got you 6. Bye.
Y'all, call it a man on the street, call it a man on the internet. Karen, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Friday night. I hope you have a blessed week, and we appreciate you as always. Oh, that's the voice of the man on the street or the man on the internet. Jack understands what's going on. I hope that somebody investigates Ilhan Omar for her transgressions because they're on record. We waiting for the DOJ to get active. I'm hoping after the big, beautiful bill passes, somebody going to get activated because it seems like with all of this stuff that we've been witnessing in the deep state, in the swamp, we still waiting 6 months into Trump 2.0. We still waiting for a single solitary arrest for anything. Can we get something? A contempt of Congress or something? Steve Bannon did 4 months in federal prison for contempt of Congress. Peter Navarro in his 70s did 4 months in federal prison for contempt of Congress. Can we get something on somebody? I ain't trying to put no public pressure on Cash Patel or Dan Bongino, but we got expectations out here. We voted for some stuff. That's why we so happy about what's going on here with these judicial decisions that have come down today by the SCOTUS. We feel okay about it. We feeling pretty good. We going into the weekend, y'all. It's the weekend. And the SCOTUS gave us some gifts on Friday. They could have just gave us some little gifts with no fanfare, nothing attached to it, but Amy Coney Barrett decided to give us something special and roast her colleague for the ages. I know she's been taking a lot of heat. In a previous podcast, I called her Amy Coney Barrett myself in a previous live. I was feeling some kind of way because she was siding with the liberals. We know what the liberals do. We know who the liberals are. Even today's decision came down as a 6-3. We know who the 3 are. Is there any question in the chat who the 3 are? I'll spell it out for you. Justice Kagan, Justice Sotomayor, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. You can always depend on the 3 to be the 3. We had 1 or 6 who was leaning over on the 3 side for a couple of decisions, and people got to scratching their head and say, hey, what is up with this one? Maybe she's not on the majority side. And we already know what Chief Justice John Roberts is about. We've doubted him for a long time. He's given us good reason to doubt him, but we know what it is. But given all that, y'all, we feeling pretty good about going into this weekend with what the Supreme Court has given us. And we know that with all the things that are coming to this country, Donald Trump stood up there. He took to the podium today. He said, listen, we don't need Caroline Levitt to come out. I'm going to step up to the podium myself in the press room, and I'm going to talk to the media because I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling myself. He said, wait until these tariffs kick in and y'all really see what's going on. Wait until this bill passes and y'all really see what's going on. Anybody out there excited about no tax on tips? Hopefully they fight for it. Some shaky stuff going on in the Senate. But anybody excited about no tax on tips? Anybody excited about no tax on overtime? I need somebody to get excited about some overtime. Get on out there and work them extra hours. Pay your credit cards down. Pay them bills down. Save something, invest something. Get out there and do what you need to do. Based on this circumstance that is coming your way. He only got 4 years, y'all. Now listen, we looking forward to 2028, and we see some prospects that's looking pretty good to us, but let's get through this term first. We ain't trying to get ahead of ourselves. We ain't trying to feel too good before we see the results that we are owed, that mandate that we voted for. Yeah, we want to see some results first before we anticipate what is coming next. Bonnie said, I'm excited. Overtime tax-free. Yay. Get it, Bonnie. AT say, amen. Get that overtime. Listen, Robert Randall said, if that no tax on overtime passes, I will never leave my job. Hey, that's what they doing in LA with the riots. They saying they trying to press Donald Trump and say, hey, you owe the city of Los Angeles $20 million. Y'all know where most of that 20 million bill comes from that Donald Trump ain't finna pay? Most of it is police overtime. P. Mooney said, I'm excited for no overtime tax. I survive on overtime. Listen, been there, done that. I know it well. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Mr. President, for these policies that are going to help average Americans, that are going to encourage average Americans, that's going to put a little battery in the back of average Americans and give them exactly what they need to move forward, to continue to chase those dreams and continue to hold it down for their families. That's what we need from a president, y'all. And then we get out here on them folks' platform and folks want to attack us and say, well, y'all think Donald Trump is God. No, ain't nobody ever said nothing close to that. I mean, if we really had to make a moral judgment, I'd get out here and say, Donald Trump is a dirtbag. Seems like a cool guy, but morally, no, I wouldn't fool with him. Seems like he makes some bad judgments in his life. He got a whole lot of kids and a whole lot of baby mamas. Got a whole lot of shady friends and contacts that he's been with in the past. But you know what? Some of them shady friends is blackity blacks. Oh, I ain't new to this, y'all. I remember when the blackity blacks loved Donald Trump. They used to go to Donald Trump's office in New York City and beg him for money. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. Michael Jackson lived in Trump Tower, and Donald Trump's kids used to go down to his apartment and play with Michael. Y'all forgot about that? That's why when they start attacking Donald Trump, Janet Jackson rose up out of nowhere and defended him. And they was like, wait. Why Janet coming at Kamala like this? Because Janet remembers. Y'all should remember too. Janet wasn't having it. Janet wasn't crashing out for y'all and y'all Democrat narratives. She stood on truth. She stood on business. Unlike some of these blackity blacks out here now, like a Jasmine Crockett, like a Fonnie Willis, like a Letitia James, like a LaMonica McIver. She's a new one, y'all, but look her up. Like a Stacey Abrams. All of these black women that we would once consider to be the best of the community, they done went out here, walked through the gauntlet of higher education and have achieved and have established careers. We would think that's the best of the community. That's the best we got to offer. But for some reason, they are lining up like dominoes to fall for the Democrat plantation. You can't say nothing to them. You can't do nothing to them that'll get them to get themselves off that plantation. They will not be moved like the old mothers used to sing that song, I shall not be moved like a tree planted by the water. These educated black women are not to be moved from that Democrat plantation. They will sacrifice families. They will sacrifice children. They will sacrifice husbands. They will sacrifice it all for career and dedicate that whole career to that Democrat plantation. And what do the Democrats do? They have a march out on that limb. Get them out there standing all by themselves, and they saw it off. In cases like this. LaMonica McIver might go to prison. Might get expelled from Congress. Jasmine Crockett is probably going to lose her reelection. Just as other members of the squad have in the past. And when you do, they don't care. They forget about you. They move on. You're old news. Having sacrificed your livelihood and your career for that Democrat Party, what you going to do after that? Go practice law? You never had a law career in the first place. Y'all look it up. The information is there. I ain't going to spell it out for you, but she never had a notable law career in the first place. And yet she sits here on this, the loudest mic she's ever had in her career, and she shoots at the president. She gets no results from that, and she says, okay, well, I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to change the plan. I'm going to change course, and I'm going to start shooting at the first lady. She seems like an easier target, seems like low-hanging fruit. She's an immigrant to the country. Well, you know what? She's a legal immigrant. And when we get together in spaces like this, I don't think anybody in the chat has a problem with legal immigration. If you do, step on out there on that limb. And we will collectively saw it off with you out there tonight, because we don't rock with that. If you come in the right way and you do the right thing and you're a law-abiding citizen, what problem do we have with that? But I live in a state here in California, y'all, where it is so out of control. They have built an underground illegal economy. That's why Los Angeles is going to be a tough nut to crack, because you got businesses down there saying, hey, you messing up my business by coming in with ICE and deporting these people. Well, you're admitting that you hired illegals. Y'all, I saw a story just this week where the unions in Los Angeles are saying, it's crazy. It's crazy work. They saying, we want to put a fund together to pay the rent and the bills of illegal aliens in Los Angeles. You know why? Because they scared to go to work. And they scared to go to school because ICE gonna be sitting there waiting for them. So they stuck on house arrest. Essentially, they sitting at home scared to go outside. So the unions say, well, we got to step up and we got to help them maintain. We're going to pay their rent and pay their bills when they ain't got no business being on American soil. This is Los Angeles, y'all. It's crazy out here. I don't know if y'all understand. I try to spell it out for y'all so y'all can really get what's going on in California. I need you to understand, we've been trying to vote some of this stuff out for years, but they got the situation so rigged. I'll tell you another one. Because the governor of this state, Gavin Newsom, president call him Gavin Newscum. This dude's so dirty. But the state is so corrupt here, y'all. Gavin Newsom came out because he's trying to move himself to the center a little piece so he can run in 2028. Gavin Newsom said, hey, maybe boys shouldn't compete with girls in sports in California. You know, they had an uprising in the state legislature because he said that. He trying to move to the center. He trying to sell himself outside the bubble. He know he don't play well outside of California. He's trying to change the narrative. He's trying to change his image. Gavin Newsom said he tried to bend over backwards for the legislature in this state. He said, look, y'all, I know we are $9 billion over budget because we have provided full healthcare coverage to illegal immigrants in this state. Y'all can come here. See, you got problems getting your teeth fixed in California. you working that overtime y'all was talking about in the chat just a second ago. Y'all living on overtime, just trying to survive check to check, waiting on some no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Wish you could get it. Well, it might be coming. But in the meantime, between time, you can't pay your medical bills. You can't even get your teeth fixed. Listen, illegal aliens come into California illegally. They get free braces. Why all the illegals walking around with braces on? And you walking around with a toothache, trying to go to work every day. You can't get nothing done in your mouth. Gavin Newsom says, hey, y'all, our budget is crazy. This is unsustainable. We can't do this. He says, how about we negotiate a settlement? How about that? I'll make a deal with y'all, Gavin Newsom says to the legislature. He says, what if we have the illegal aliens in California pay a copay for their medical coverage? These are Medicare benefits in the state of California. They call it Medi-Cal in this state. Gavin Newsom says, hey, what if we charge them $100 copay, but we're not even going to charge them for 2 years. We're going to let them have 2 more years of free health care, and in 2 years down the road, we'll start charging them a copay. The legislature like to throw this dude out on his thumbs, y'all. They was like, dude, if you don't get out of here with that crazy talk. They said, we will tax Californians first. Why don't you raise taxes on these law-abiding citizens of California and have them support it? That's how corrupt this state is. Oh, by the way, y'all, today is the 27th of June, 2025. Do y'all know that on July 1st in California, the gas tax is going up, and all of gas in California is going up by 65 cents per gallon, and that's all tax. Jack say, I remember when California was red. Hey, California is getting redder and redder. It's just that the population centers, Bay Area, Los Angeles, that's where the population is. And because they allow illegals to vote in this state, you can't even ask for ID at a polling station. It is illegal. The legislature made it illegal in this state. You can't even ask for ID at a polling place. That's right. Check this out, Jack. From 2020 to 2024, you would think, oh, California is getting redder and redder. Well, those blue parts that remain blue in 2024, that's where the population is. So although the red is growing out in the outer areas, the population is sparse. That's the valley. That's the agricultural land. You still got LA, San Diego, Oakland, San Francisco. That's where the population centers are in this state. It's where the illegal aliens congregate in this state, and they are allowed to vote in this state. You have several lawsuits that are going forward from the Trump administration that's challenging some of this. And we're going to see how it works out. Hopefully, Donald Trump is going to clean things up out here, just like he turned the water on. Y'all, we've been living under this punitive administration for so long. They've told us, based on these tree hugging environmentalist liberals, that it wasn't no water in the state. We've been under drought for 20 years. And the rainy season comes, we go outside and be like, it's raining. Why is it a drought? But then you go down to Southern California and you see those big reservoirs. And you see the kids in there on their bikes and they skateboard. They skating in the reservoirs where the water's supposed to be. But ain't no water in there. Ain't been no water in there for 20 years. You know why? Because the state has mandated that you send that water out to the ocean. We ain't sending that water from north to south. Donald Trump came in, he changed all of that. There go that name again, Donald Trump. He changing things, winning and winning and winning. We ain't tired of winning. We want more, Mr. President. We feel good about it. We glad about it. We are thankful for what is being implemented from the White House. I hope California taps in at a certain point, but we understand what goes on here. You're going to have to break California. And as a citizen of this state, it's going to hurt. The businesses are leaving. Oakland is deserted. San Francisco, deserted. The Bay Area is a mess. The Bay Area looked like Gary, Indiana. Oakland looked like Gary, Indiana. Looked like a burnt match. They have a sideshow on the weekend. They set cars on fire in the intersection, and it takes the city 2 weeks to come and pick up the car at the middle of the intersection. It's just burned out sitting there. And the city say, we ain't got no resources. We can't afford it. Well, then you find out that the mayor of Oakland is under federal indictment. Where'd the money go? It's the height of criminality in this state. Good thing about it is Donald Trump understands it. And he don't call him Gavin Newsome for nothing. Donald Trump understands exactly what is going on in this state. He understands how to fix it. That's why you got Marines down there in Los Angeles. Have y'all heard the stories about people being scared of the Marines and how dangerous the Marines are and how the Marines act? They're there for a reason, because if it get too thick, y'all, you understand that these cartels are supporting this underground economy in Southern California with all these illegals. When the cartels step up, when the cartels rise up, when the cartels try to defend the status quo, those United States Marines are going to handle their business. They're not there for the civilians. They just trying to scare y'all. They're trying to say, oh, you got these Marines out here with these guns and they're trained a certain way. They're going to hurt our abuelas and abuelos. No, that ain't what they're there for. They're there sitting in wait for when the big guns come out. And if those folks across the border who were brazen enough in times past to shoot across the border at our border patrol, they were shooting from Mexico into America, y'all. And I don't even know how I got off on this tangent. This wasn't on my list to talk about tonight, but hey, here we are. Donald Trump understands the circumstance. I believe that he's the man that we need in the place that we need for such a time as this. Whether he believe or not. And there was a certain time in Trump 1.0 where I didn't think he believed at all. And he kind of admitted that he wasn't too religious. But anytime a 5.56 round whiz past your knot and clip your ear, you might look up to the heavens and say, there got to be a God up there. Because how else could I have survived this? How else can I still be standing here after that? How can it be so close and yet so far? But God. That's what they used to say when I was a kid in church. But God. Would have lost my life, but God. Would have perished, but God. Would have lost my job, but God. Would have took out somebody else at my job because I was feeling some kind of way, but God. I was about to snap on my lunch break, but God. Said, sit your hell down, boy. Girl, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sit your tail down. I know they did you wrong. I know they talked about you. I know you're feeling some kind of way, but vengeance is mine. Have a seat. I just believe that Donald Trump might be feeling some kind of way because I ain't never heard a president mention God as much as I've heard Donald Trump mention God. Now, y'all can say what you want about whether he is genuine and authentic when he mentions it. I don't know. This is the same president who stepped up there, and when he was running the first time in 2016, he said 2 Corinthians. Yeah, that Donald Trump, same guy. But after his experience in politics, he talking a little different. Seemed like he giving God glory, a little peace. Seemed like he giving God credit, a little peace. Seemed like he giving God thanks, a little peace. And you know what? That's enough for somebody like me. Because I know Donald Trump, I followed him for years, for decades. And I know Donald Trump is a poor little rich kid, a billionaire. Donald Trump ain't bowing down to nobody. But the word says every knee shall bow. And at some point, y'all, Donald Trump came to realize, no, it wasn't me that dodged that bullet. I'm a 78-year-old man. I'm just looking up at the billboard, looking up at the display. Ain't no way I could have turned my head at the perfect time to dodge a bullet. No, that couldn't have been me. God will put you in positions, y'all, where you can't take no credit. I don't know if anybody understands that. Y'all ain't clicking the like button, so I'm guessing y'all ain't understanding what I'm talking about tonight. But God will put you in a circumstance, in a situation where you can't take credit. If Donald Trump stood up there and told you that he dodged a bullet because he saw it coming and he moved his head at the right moment, we would laugh him up out the arena. Because we know it ain't possible. But what we know is possible, that there's a guy who sits high and look low. Yeah. He is the Almighty. And he can see that little bullet as it approaches your head and go, boink. Not today, devil. After this, Mr. Trump, you shall live. You're going to bleed a little piece. You're going to lose a shoe. You're going to be embarrassed. Secret Service going to jump all on your head. But after this, you shall live. And because of that change that has been imparted into your life, into your spirit, into your soul, into your mental, you might just become, y'all look at the title, you might just become the president of peace. Whether it be peace through negotiation or peace through strength. Peace through economic incentives or peace through military disincentives. You might just be a whole new man. You might be a whole new creature after I finish dealing with you. I'm just imagining in my mind, y'all, what God might be saying. Honey K said, mess around and become a witness. Bonnie say Trump is submitting to God. I ain't never heard a president mention God so much. Maybe it's exactly the circumstance that we need for such a time as this. I hope y'all hold on to the faith in order to find out. Because right now we just opining. We just talking it through. We just mulling it over. We don't know. Donald Trump don't know. But we believe, see, that's the key. We believe that if he avails himself, then God will show up and show out. He don't, he don't need us to know in order to be God. He don't need us to be able to determine in order for him to do what he need to do. No, it ain't up to us. All we got to do is believe. David Tabaka says, Psalm 40:7 reads, "Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book, it is written of me." It's in the book. Y'all, it's in the book. Don't be dependent on them little apps y'all got on your phone. Get you a paper Bible, because they can change them apps you got. With a push of a button, they change that whole situation and rewrite that thing to a whole nother translation. They call it translational. Get you a paper Bible. You ain't updating this, bro. The paper is what it is. Appreciate you, Lynetta. Y'all, I had a couple other stories that I was going to go into, but I done already held y'all longer than I thought I would. I was going to get on here for an hour, give y'all a couple of little things and be out your way. It's Friday night. Listen, Bonnie said my paper Bible come with me everywhere. Teresa H say, amen, God working when he don't even think so. That's facts. But imagine where we've seen Donald Trump come from since the time he's come down the elevator as a pompous, billionaire, egotistical man to the place he is in now. We see God dealing with him, even if he don't think so, Teresa. But he said some things, he's let some things come out of his mouth where I just believe he thinks so. He may not have the blackety black church understanding that you have on how to speak in tongues and how to practice our shout in the mirror and bust it out on Sunday morning and all that kind of foolishness. He may not know that. He may not have that cultural, sociological understanding of churchianity. But you're dealing with somebody who's saying, now, ain't no way I could have dodged that bullet. In the dark of night, in the middle of the night, as he laying in bed staring at the ceiling, he's saying, ain't no way I could have did that on my own. Thank you, LR. Appreciate you. I think that's a good place to leave it tonight, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me tonight. Louise said God is using him. I agree. David Tabaka says Donald Trump may have my initials, but every knee shall bow. Honey K says not to practice shout in the mirror. Listen, saints. Don't practice your electric boogaloo in the mirror and come bust it out on Sunday afternoon service. We ain't even going there tonight. Thank you, Louise. Appreciate you. We ain't going there tonight. Honey K trying to get me started. We ain't doing that tonight, y'all. David Tabaka. Isaiah 55, 1-9. We're going to check it out, y'all. It's right there in the chat. Look it up in your paper Bible. And like the old mothers used to say, take the Lord along with you everywhere you go. I appreciate y'all rocking out with me tonight. It has been fun, y'all. It has been extraordinary on tonight. Thank you all for keeping the chat lively. Thank you all for spending some time with me on tonight and letting me get some things off my chest and whatnot. Thankful to our sponsors, Amethyst Angel and LR, for supporting us tonight, supporting the stream. We appreciate y'all. All our mods in the building. All our members in the building. We see you, Bonnie, a supporting member of the channel. We rock out with y'all. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for supporting us. And we're going to do this again on next Friday. And maybe the story that I didn't get to that I was going to bust out on y'all and finish up with. Thank you, PJ. Laura Hardiman in the building. Thank you. Maybe I'll save it for next week. Maybe I'll have something totally new and different to present to y'all next week. But one thing's for sure and two things for certain. One way or the other. Old folks say, if the Lord give me strength, I will see you here next week on Friday, and we'll do it all again on another Friday Night Live. Y'all know why I call it Friday Night Live? Because it's Friday night and I'm live. It ain't no deeper than that. It's what it is. But I need y'all to understand three things. Three things I need y'all to understand as we depart this evening. One, I love y'all. Louise McNeil, thank you so much. Appreciate your support. Thank you for the 5 cents. Another sponsor. We on the way out. It's benediction time. And she decided to bless the stream, y'all. Thank you, Louise. 3 things I need y'all to get tonight. And hold on to them close until next week. Deal? Deal. Number 1, I love y'all. Number 2, I appreciate y'all thoroughly and completely. Number 3, I'll see y'all on the next one.